The Holy Tales.
Hello, my name is Tubby. I live here in this wonderful library and I love to eat books. I live here with my friends Gumbo and Freckles. Gumbo, Freckles, come out, wherever you are. Over there, on that great book, is Grand Old Holy. She is really old and wise and tells us wonderful stories when she is awake, that is. Oh, and we love to sing.
Children, go where I send thee. How shall I send thee? I'm gonna send thee one by one, one for the little bitty baby. Born in Bethlehem.
Hello, Tubby, Freckles, and Gumbo. How are you today?
Hello, Holy. We are all fine. We have come to listen to another story from the Bible. It's so much fun.
All right. Wait a second. But you do know what you have to do after my story is over?
Yes, we know. We have to answer a question.
Good. Now let us start with the story. Long time ago, in a city called Ramah, there lived a man called Elkanah and his wife called Hannah. They had no son, so they prayed to the Lord for a baby boy. God heard their prayers and blessed them with a son, who they named Samuel. Hannah, in her prayers, had promised the Lord that if she had a son, she would give him back to the Lord to serve him all his life. Hannah remembered her promise to the Lord, and when Samuel grew up to be a young boy, his parents took him to Shiloh, to the house of the Lord. The priest of Shiloh was Eli. Hannah spoke to Eli about her promise made to the Lord. She said, "I asked God for this child, and he answered my prayers. So I am giving him to the Lord to serve him as long as he lives." Eli remembered Hannah and her prayers, and so took in Samuel to train him in the ways to serve the Lord. Elkanah and Hannah thanked the Lord, left Samuel with Eli, and went back home happily. Hannah had also promised that her son would never have his hair cut. Samuel grew up to be a Nazirite. The Nazirites were people who spent their entire lives in the service of God. So the question for you today is, what was the name of the city where Elkanah and his wife Hannah lived?
The place was called Ramah, isn't it?
Absolutely correct. I am so glad you listened carefully. I feel sleepy again. See you soon, children. Bye-bye.
Bye, Holy. See you.
Hello, children.
Hi, Holy. It's story time. I love to hear the stories from the Bible. Come on, Holy. What is today's story about?
Today, I will tell you the story about Samuel. He was promised to God, but I'm sure you remember that you have to answer a question after I finish my story.
Oh, yes, we sure do.
So you better listen carefully. A long time ago, there lived a man called Elkanah and his wife called Hannah. Now Hannah had no children and was very unhappy about it. They went to Shiloh to offer their prayers to the Lord. After they finished their meal at the house of the Lord, Hannah felt very sad. She cried and prayed to the Lord for a son. Eli, the priest, was sitting by the door. Hannah prayed and made a promise to God. "Dear Lord, if you give me a son, I promise that I will give him back to you to serve you all his life." Hannah went on praying for a long time while Eli watched her. She was praying silently, but her lips were moving. Eli thought she was just a silly woman and asked her to be quiet. She answered, "I have been praying about my troubles to the Lord." Hearing this, Eli asked her to go back home. He was sure that the Lord would hear her prayers. The next day, Elkanah and Hannah went back home, and a few days later, she gave birth to a son. Because she asked the Lord for him, she named him Samuel.
Holy, that was such a wonderful story. I loved it. Gumbo, don't be silly. We all loved the story, not just you.
All right. Now don't you children fight amongst yourselves. Answer my question. Where did Elkanah and Hannah go to offer their prayers?
I know. They went to Shiloh.
Excellent. You have all been good children.
Bye-bye, Holy. We shall be back soon for another story.
Bye, kids.
Wake up, Holy. We have come to hear another story from the Bible. Come on, wake up.
Oh, yes, I know. I will tell you a story.
Oh, Holy, please do not waste any more time. Yes, and we also know that you will ask us a question after you have told us the story.
All right, now let us start with our story. Today, I shall tell you another story about Samuel the prophet. Long time ago, Eli, the priest of Shiloh, was training a young boy, Samuel, to serve the Lord. Months and years passed. Eli was now a very old man, and Samuel grew up to be a young man, preparing himself to serve the Lord. One night, suddenly, before dawn broke, Samuel heard a voice calling him. He thought it was Eli looking for him. He went to Eli's room, but it wasn't him who had called Samuel. This happened 2 more times. The third time, when Samuel went to Eli's room to see whether Eli had really called him or not, Eli understood that it was the Lord who was trying to speak to Samuel. So he sent him back to his room and said,
"Next time, when the voice calls you, say, 'Speak, Lord, your servant is listening.'"
Samuel went back to his room, and the voice called him again. He replied exactly the way Eli had taught him. God then spoke to Samuel and said,
"I am going to punish Eli and his family because his sons have spoken evil things about me. No offering or sacrifice will ever remove the punishment of their sin."
The next morning, Samuel told Eli what the Lord told him. As Samuel grew up, the Lord was always with him. Soon the people of Israel believed that Samuel was indeed a man of the Lord. Now, children, the question I will ask you today is, why did the Lord punish Eli and his family?
He punished them because Eli's sons had spoken evil and bad things about the Lord. Yes, we would never do that.
Calm down, Gumbo. It's all right. Now off with you, children. See you soon.
Good night, Holy. Sleep tight. Wake up, Holy. Wake up. It's time for you to tell us a story.
I am not asleep, Tubby. I was just thinking of which story to tell all of you today.
So, have you thought about it?
Yes, today I will tell you a story about how the people of Israel get their first king. Long time ago, the people of Israel came to Samuel, a wise man of the Lord, asking him for a new king to rule them and their nation. So Samuel called the people of Israel together for a religious meeting at a place called Mizpah. Samuel said,
"Today, you don't want to obey the Lord. You have asked for a king. Well then, gather yourselves before the Lord by tribes and by clans."
Then Samuel had each tribe come forward, and the Lord chose the tribe of Benjamin. Now, the families of the tribe of Benjamin were asked to come forward, and the family of Matri was picked out. From the family of Matri, the son of Kish, Saul was chosen as the king of Israel. But Saul hid himself behind a large bag and was brought out by the people. Saul was a strong man and a foot taller than anyone else. Samuel said to the people,
"Here is the man the Lord has chosen."
The people of Israel were very happy at the anointment of the new king. Samuel explained to him the rights and duties of a king and wrote them in a book which he kept in a holy place. So this was the story of how Saul became the first king of Israel. So children, the question for today is,
May I ask the question today? Please, please, please.
okay, go ahead.
What was Saul's father's name?
That was a good question. So, who will answer Tubby's question?
I will. His father's name was Kish.
No, it was Kish, silly. Well, he was close, Tubby. Now, off you go, children. I shall see you soon.
Bye, Holy. See you.
Where have you three been? I have been waiting for you today.
We had a birthday party in the corner of the library. We got late because Tubby was busy eating cake. No, I was not. We are ready to listen to another story from the Bible, and we promise to listen carefully.
All right then. A woman had prayed to the Lord for a son and had promised that if she did have one, she would offer him for service to God. Her son's name was Samuel, a wise man. During this time, the Israelites had an enemy called the Philistines. The Philistines wanted to fight the Israelites and take over the promised land. The Israelites decided to choose a king who could lead them into battle. So they went to Samuel to ask him for his help. They told him,
"You must find us someone fit to be a king."
Samuel asked God for advice. God said to Samuel,
"They have rejected me, Samuel, not you. Do as they ask. Find them a king to lead them into battle, but explain to them what it means to have a king before you do anything else."
Samuel went to the elders and said to them,
"I am ready to find you a king. But first you must understand what it will mean to have a king. He will take over your sons for the army and ask for taxes. He will also take 1/10 of your best produce. He will do what is best for you, but you will be under his rules and have to obey him."
But the elders really wanted to have a king. So Samuel chose a handsome man called Saul. In the beginning, Saul proved to be a good king. He raised a strong army and fought the Philistines. But soon, he became very proud. He broke many religious laws and stopped listening to Samuel. Samuel said to Saul one day,
"Saul, since you have rejected God, God has rejected you as king."
Samuel never saw Saul again after that day. He decided to look for a new king for the Israelites. Okay, Tubby, who did Samuel choose as the king?
I know. Samuel chose Saul as the king for the Israelites.
That is very good, Tubby. Now, it is time to go and finish your homework. Bye-bye. Hello, children. I can see that you are back for another story.
Yes, we are. We really want to listen to a story. Will you tell us one, please?
All right, I will, but
Yes, we know. We promise to pay attention.
a long time ago, Samuel, a wise man, had chosen Saul as the king of the Israelites. But God had rejected him because he had become too proud. Often, when Samuel would think about Saul, his eyes would fill with tears. He was still upset by Saul's behavior. When God saw Samuel hurt, he said,
"Till when will you cry for Saul? It is foolish for you to do so, since you know I have rejected him as king. It is true that he will be punished."
God told Samuel to fill his horn with holy oil and go to Bethlehem. God said,
"There is a farmer who lives there. His name is Jesse. I have chosen one of his sons to become the next king of Israel."
So Samuel went to Bethlehem. He decided to have a feast in honor of God and called everyone in town. Everyone was excited about the feast. Jesse and his sons also came. Samuel called Jesse to introduce himself and his sons. One by one, they introduced themselves. Every time Samuel would think to himself,
"Maybe this is the one chosen to be the king."
but God would say no. Soon Jesse had introduced all his sons, and yet Samuel had not found the one. Samuel asked Jesse.
"Are these all your sons?"
Jesse said.
"No, my youngest son David is looking after the sheep."
Samuel quickly sent for David. When David finally arrived, Samuel said to him,
"One day you will be the king of Israel, but right now you're too young, so return to your sheep. But prepare yourself for the future, young man, because God has plans for you."
Saying this, he poured holy oil on David's head in front of his brothers. From that day, the Spirit of God stayed with David. Now, my question is, what was the name of Jesse's youngest son who would be the next king of Israel?
The answer is David, right?
Yes, very good, Gumbo. Now, off you go. Bye-bye. Hello, children.
Hi, Holy. What a surprise. How come you're awake today? We thought you would be asleep, like always.
No, I don't feel sleepy today. I've thought of a wonderful story to tell you. I'm sure you're all going to find it very interesting.
Really? Then let's not waste any more time. Please start your story, Holy.
Of course, but you know that after the story, I am going to ask all of you one question.
Yes, we know.
A long time ago, the Philistines, who were the people of Israel's greatest enemy, wanted to make the people of Israel their slaves. Saul was then the king of Israel. Saul and the Israelite army, all of them gathered to fight the Philistines. The Philistine army was standing on top of a hill and the Israelites on the opposite hill. In between these hills was a valley. In the Philistine army, there was a man called Goliath, who was a scary, strong giant. He was almost 8 feet tall and wore heavy bronze armor and a bronze helmet. Goliath came out from their camp to challenge the Israelites. He had a bronze javelin and a spear, which was very thick and had sharp iron points. Goliath came in front of Saul and said,
"Choose one of your men to fight with me. If he wins, we will be your slaves. If I win, you will become our slaves."
These words of Goliath really frightened King Saul and the people of Israel, since they did not have anyone who could fight him.
Whoa! Goliath sounds so dangerous. He must have been a zillion times bigger than me. My goodness!
Yes, that he was. So, should I ask today's question?
Yes, Holy. Go ahead.
What did Goliath have in his hand?
I will answer this one. He had a bronze javelin and a sharp spear in his hand.
Good answer, Freckles. Now I feel sleepy, children. I shall see you all soon for another story. Bye. Hi, children. So you've come to hear another story from the Bible?
Of course, Holy. You have to tell us another story.
All right. Today I will tell you a story of David and how courageous and brave he was.
Yes. I love to hear stories of brave and strong men like David. I'm sure you do.
Anyway, a long time ago, when Goliath, a giant bully in the Philistine army, challenged the Israelites to fight him, Saul and his people were extremely afraid. A young boy, David's 3 older brothers, were soldiers in the Israelite army. One day, David went to meet his brothers in the army. He arrived at the camp just when Goliath had come forward and challenged the Israelites once again. The people saw Goliath and ran away in terror. This only made Goliath laugh. David spoke to some of the men in the army and understood what was going on. He told them that he had a way to fight the giant. Some men from the army went and told King Saul about David, so he sent for him. When David came to the king, he said,
"Your Majesty, no one should be afraid of this Philistine. I will go and fight him."
This confused Saul greatly. David was just a boy and Goliath a giant. It was impossible for him to fight Goliath. But he saw the courage in his eyes and allowed him to go ahead. Saul gave him all the weapons and armor that were necessary to fight Goliath, but David knew he could not fight with these. He was not used to it. So he took it all off and picked up his shepherd's stick instead. He chose 5 smooth stones from the stream and put them in his bag. With his sling in hand, he went out to fight Goliath.
Wow, David is so courageous and brave. I am so in love with him.
Freckles, you are such a pretty little girl. If David had seen you, I am sure he would have fallen in love with you too. Now, today's question is, what did David take with him to fight Goliath?
He took 5 guns. No, silly. He took his shepherd's stick and 5 smooth stones from the stream in his sling.
Excellent, Freckles. Now, off you go, children. Hello! Today, I will tell you the story of David, the shepherd warrior. A long time ago, God was looking for a new king of Israel to replace King Saul, who had displeased him. God sent his servant Samuel to the house of Jesse and asked him to anoint one of his sons. The youngest, David, a young boy of 15 with bright blue eyes and rosy cheeks, was chosen as the one and anointed. Since that day, God's Spirit was always with David. King Saul was not happy because he had not made peace with God. David used to play the harp very well, so Saul's servants thought that the beautiful music played by David would cheer him up. And it did. David's music made the king feel better, and slowly David was adored by the king. However, King Saul was unaware of the fact that David was anointed by Samuel and that he would become the future king of Israel. While Saul was the king of Israel, the Philistines continued to battle with them. One Philistine was a huge giant called Goliath. Goliath was 9 feet tall, and it was impossible for anyone to fight him. He kept on daring the Israelites, telling them,
"We Philistines will become the servants of the Israelites if someone could fight Goliath."
But King Saul and his army was scared. David was extremely courageous and was not afraid of Goliath. With his shepherd's staff in hand, David went down to fight Goliath. David took out his slingshot and picked up 5 stones from a stream. He openly challenged Goliath and said,
"Come with a sword."
Goliath noticed that David was carrying a shepherd's staff, and he laughed at David. But David was not afraid. David ran towards Goliath, put a stone in his slingshot, and hurled the stone deep into the giant's forehead. Surprisingly, Goliath fell to the ground, and David won a great victory for Israel.
That's a wonderful story. If one has faith, one can even bring down a giant. No questions today, please. We want to sing for you.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, Holy. I hope you are up. We are here for a story from the Bible. Yes, I am hungry for a story.
Okay, I will. But you have to promise to listen carefully, as at the end of the story, I will ask a question.
We always do.
All right then. This story is about David and his harp. Saul was now the king of Israel, but God had rejected him because he was becoming a bad person. God had said that the next king of Israel would be one of the sons of a farmer called Jesse. This was David. Now King Saul was often very ill. He suffered from fits of madness, and only music could make him feel better. He sent for his servants to get him a good musician who could play him music whenever King Saul had his attacks of madness. The servants said to Saul,
Your Highness, there is a boy. His music is lovely and he's quite famous for his songs. Maybe we should call him.
Saul ordered his servants.
Call that boy to the court.
The boy they were talking about was none other than David, the son of Jesse. David would often play his harp and sing while watching his sheep. Soon he had become famous for his music. Not only was he a good musician, he was also blessed to be the next ruler of Israel by God himself. So David was called to Saul's court. So whenever the king would get his attacks of illness, David would leave his sheep and run to him to play gentle and soothing music for Saul. David's music had a calming effect on the king. And soon, the king began to really like the little boy from Bethlehem who was able to bring peace to his disturbed mind. What he did not know was that this boy would be the next king. Now, children, I hope you were listening carefully because I'm about to ask you the question. If you get it right, I will sing along with you. What did David play to soothe the king when he had his attacks?
I know. David would play his harp to soothe the king when he would have his attacks.
That is right, Tubby. Well done.
Hi, Holy. It's time for us to listen to a story from the Bible.
Well. I was waiting for so long for you children. Come on, let us start with today's story. Today's story is about a lifelong friendship that David and Jonathan shared.
Wow, that sounds nice. Just like us.
Yes, you can learn something about friendship too. But you do remember that you need to answer my question at the end of the story.
Yes, we know.
Long time ago, a brave young man called David had defeated a Philistine giant called Goliath single-handedly. After this battle, when he returned to camp, Abner, who was King Saul's commander, took him to Saul. Seeing David, he was extremely pleased. Saul asked him,
Young man, whose son are you?
David answered,
I am the son of Jesse from Bethlehem.
Now King Saul's son was Jonathan. David's courage and bravery that day affected Jonathan very deeply. He was moved to love him like a brother. They had many things in common. From that day forward, they became best friends and never let anything or anyone come between them ever. As a gift of friendship, Jonathan gave David the beautiful robe he was wearing. Along with the robe, he also gave him his armor, sword, and his bow. From that day onwards, Saul kept David with him and did not let him go back to Bethlehem. David won all the battles to which Saul sent him, and he soon was made an officer in his army. This made Saul, his officers, and his men very happy.
Wow! Thank you, Holy, for sharing with us such a wonderful story about friendship.
Well, you are most welcome, children. So who wants to answer my question today?
Oh, I will. I am in love with David.
All right. What was the name of the commander who took David to Saul?
David?
No, his name was Abner. You silly girl, you are quite obsessed with David.
Bye, Holy. We shall be back soon. It's story time, Holy. You've got to wake up.
I know. I will tell you all a story. I have already thought about it. But I'm sure you children can remember that.
We need to answer a question at the end.
Well then, a long time ago, King Saul of Israel had made David a brave man, an officer in his army. The people of Israel were very happy. He won all the battles that Saul sent him to fight. The Israelite women sang joyful songs in praise of David. They sang, "Saul has won thousands, but David has won 10,000s." All these praises of David angered King Saul. He did not like it at all. He said,
They give me less honor than David. Next, they will make him king.
Saul was jealous of David. From that day onwards, he watched his actions and movements very carefully. The next day, suddenly, an evil spirit took control of Saul. He started behaving like a madman in his house. David was playing the harp like he did every day, and Saul was holding a spear. All of a sudden, he threw his spear at David. David moved just in time and thus was saved. Saul realized that the Lord was not with him anymore. So Saul sent David away to fight dangerous wars with 1,000 men under his command. Even then, David managed to win all the battles. Saul became even more afraid of him, but the people loved David because he was such a good leader.
David is so brave. I love him more and more every day. Stop it, Freckles. You are being silly. Anyway, Holy, you can go ahead and ask us the question.
So, the question is, what did Saul attack David with while he was playing the harp?
A spear.
Yes, very good. Now, if you children will allow me, may I please go back to my nap?
Of course, Holy. Bye-bye. Wake up, Holy. Wake up. It's time for you to tell us a story.
Yes, I remember. But do you children remember that you all will have to answer a question at the end of the story?
Of course we do.
Well, then let's not waste any more time. Shall I begin with my story? Now, all of you pay attention. A long time ago, when a young man, David, had come to Saul's court after winning against a giant called Goliath, King Saul's son, Jonathan, made a promise of lifelong friendship to David. A few months later, when David realized that Saul was trying to kill him, he went to Jonathan and told him all about it. When Jonathan heard everything, he was very confused as to why his father would want to kill his dear friend. To make Jonathan believe him, David said,
Tomorrow is the new moon festival, and I am invited to attend the king's dinner. If you agree, I will go and hide in the fields. Your father will ask why I am not at the table. Tell him that I got your permission to go to Bethlehem for the annual feast. If he becomes angry, you will know that he wants to kill me, or else I shall be safe.
Jonathan understood what David was trying to say. He took him out in the fields and promised to him that he would do exactly what he had been told to do. He also promised, in the name of the Lord, that he would send him word if he understood that his father was really trying to kill his friend. In return, he made David promise that he would always keep his friendship and be good to his family. David promised to do that.
Yes, they are awesome. We three shall always be such good friends for the rest of our lives. So what's today's question? Huh? Oh, yes, the question. I just dozed off a bit.
The question to you children is, for what occasion was David invited to Saul's court for dinner?
It was a new moon festival.
Well, right you are, Freckles. All right then. Bye, children.
Bye, Holly. We will come back soon.
Hello there. I have been sitting and thinking about which story I should tell you today.
Oh, great. I hope it's another story about the brave David.
Yes, it is. But you have to listen carefully because I will ask a question at the end of the story.
We always do, Holly.
All right then. This story is about a young man, David, going into hiding. David, a young boy, was chosen by the Lord to be the next king of Israel after King Saul. Saul loved David and had made him the commander in the army. He was brave, handsome, and a good leader. It was not long before people started singing praises in the name of David. When King Saul saw this, he was very angry and jealous. He thought that soon his people would want David as their king, so he tried to kill him. David soon realized that, and so he went into hiding. He could not understand why the king had a sudden change of heart. David ran from one place to another to get away from King Saul and his many soldiers who were looking everywhere for him. One day, King Saul and his soldiers came near the cave where David had been hiding. It was night, so they decided to rest and continue the search in the morning. When David saw them, he became very worried. He thought to himself,
This is the perfect time to kill him.
However, David could not kill Saul. David was loyal and he wanted to know why Saul wanted him dead. So when everyone was asleep, David crept towards King Saul and cut a part of his robe. In the morning, he showed the piece of cloth to King Saul and said,
My lord, while I had the chance to kill you, I did not. I am your Lord's servant. Then why did you want to kill me?
Seeing David, Saul's anger went away.
David is so loyal. Isn't that wonderful?
Now for my question. Where was David hiding when Saul's soldiers came looking?
I know, in a cave.
That's right. You are very good little bookworms. Bye-bye. Hi there. Today I have a really nice story for you children.
Ooh, I hope it's another story about David. He is so cool. He is so cool.
Yes, it is about David. Now listen carefully. Today I will tell you the story of David the king. David was Jesse the farmer's youngest son and God's chosen king of Israel after King Saul. King Saul was very fond of David in the beginning. Later, however, because of David's growing popularity, Saul became very jealous of him. The Israelites, in the meantime, had to fight another war with the Philistines in which the Israelites lost. Saul lost his 3 sons. Soon Saul died of sadness. After Saul had died, there was no danger for David. So he decided to come back to his own land. His own tribe of Judah made him the king, just as Samuel had said when David was a little boy. As time passed, the rest of Saul's sons also died. Hence David was made the king of entire Israel. When the Philistines heard this, they decided to attack. But David proved to be a strong and clever king. He soon defeated the Philistines and drove them away. Never again did they dare to attack the city of God. David needed a capital city. he decided to take Jerusalem. Jerusalem was a beautiful city set on top of a hill. Jerusalem was strongly guarded and was a fortress. The Jebusites living there did everything they could to stop David from entering their city. But soon, David found underground tunnels leading to the city. So he sent his soldiers inside the city to open the gates. And so, David took Jerusalem by surprise, thus making it his capital city. I hope you listened carefully. The question is, which city did David want as his capital?
Oh, this one is easy peasy. David wanted Jerusalem as his capital city.
Very good, Freckles. That is absolutely right. Now off you go. Hello, you naughty little children.
Hi, Holy. We have been very good today, you know. Yes, and since we have been good, you must tell us a story from the Bible.
Of course I will. But you have to pay attention because at the end of the story, I will ask a question.
We always do.
All right then. The story I will tell you today is about Jerusalem, the city of God. There was once a young shepherd called David who was chosen by God to be a king of Israel. After the old king died, his own tribe made him the king, just as Samuel, a wise man, had said they would. But David needed a capital city. He decided to take the city of Jerusalem. It was a very well-guarded city. David captured it by moving through the underground tunnels. After David had captured the fortress city of Jerusalem, he made it his capital. This is from where he ruled Israel. He had made Jerusalem the city of his people, and now he wanted to make it the city where God lived. So David decided to bring the Ark of Covenant here. The Ark held the sacred stone tablets on which the 10 Commandments were written. He knew that once the Ark was in Jerusalem, God would truly be with them. And so David sent for the Ark. It was brought with a great long procession. Musicians played their music and people rejoiced and danced. David was so happy that he threw off his robe and joined the people in the dance in praise of the Lord. The ark was kept in a tent where it would be till the time a special place was built for it. Hence Jerusalem finally became the city of God. So children, I hope you were listening carefully. I will ask the question now. Which city did David make his capital?
Hey, I know the answer to this one. It was the city of Jerusalem.
That is absolutely right, Tubby. Very good. Now, I'm going back to sleep, children. Bye-bye.
Thank you, and bye-bye, Holy.
Hello, children. Don't you want to hear a story from the Bible today?
Yes, please do.
All right, children. Today's story is about David and Absolom. David was a young boy who was chosen by God to be the king of Israel. After he became king, he had many sons and he loved all of them dearly. As David grew old, his sons started fighting over who would get to be the next king of Israel. Though David knew about the fights, he did nothing to stop them. One day, Amnon, David's eldest son, was killed by Absolom, his own brother. After killing Amnon, Absolom left Jerusalem and raised a strong army to defeat his father and take away his throne. David was very angry with Absolom, but he loved him too dearly to fight back. First, he left Jerusalem so that the city would not be under attack. Then he told his soldiers,
Protect the city, but do not harm Absalom.
Absalom rode into the battleground on his horse. As he was riding, he passed under an old oak tree. His long hair got caught in the branches, leaving Absalom hanging helplessly as his horse ran away. Soon David's soldiers found him and they killed him. David soon heard that Absolom was killed and was really very sad. He cried,
How I wish I had died instead of Absalom. Oh, my dear son is dead.
Soon David's other sons also tried to take the throne, but failed. David finally chose his son Solomon to take his throne. The question is, what was the name of David's son who wanted to defeat him and take away his throne?
Absalom. See, I was paying attention. Holy, 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 we're here. We want to hear a story from the Bible. Will you tell us one more, please?
I wasn't sleeping. I was just thinking about Solomon and his dream.
Oh, do tell us about it.
All right, children. Today I will tell you the story of Solomon's dream. Solomon was one of the 12 sons of King David of Israel. He was made king just before the death of David. Though Solomon was wise and had a good heart, he realized that he was too young to rule over the kingdom of Israel. Solomon also loved God very much, like his father David, so he decided to go to the holy place of Gibeon. There he offered sacrifices to the Lord and prayed. Finally, the Lord came to him in his dream. God said,
Solomon, ask me for whatever you wish for. Today, I will give you whatever you ask from me.
Solomon said,
Lord, you guided my father and showed him great mercy. Now you have chosen me to become the next king. I only wish for you to give me wisdom to rule over Israel with a wise heart.
God was very happy with Solomon's answer. He said,
I am truly happy when you had the chance to ask for riches, victory over your enemies, or long life. You asked for wisdom. I shall grant you your wish. You will be different from everyone else. There will be no one like you. You will also have success and riches. You will have all of this as long as you live by the commandments. This much I can promise.
And so Solomon turned out to be a great king as God promised. People from all over the world came to his court and paid him respect. Not only was he a good king, he was also a poet. He wrote many songs, and there are many records of his clever sayings. He was truly different from other kings. Okay, hope you were paying attention. My question is, apart from being a great king, what else was King Solomon known for?
I can answer that. Apart from being a great king, Solomon was also a musician, right?
Well, true, but he was also a poet. Now, run along, children. Hello, children. What can I do for you?
Hello, Holy. We want you to tell us a story from the Bible.
Sure, I will. Today's story is a little long, but you must listen carefully. At the end, I will ask a question.
Okay, Holy, we promise.
This story is about King Solomon, a very wise king of Israel. One day, 2 women came to Solomon's court to solve a problem they had. Solomon asked them,
Tell me, what is the problem?
The first woman said, My lord, we both live in the same house and we both have a baby boy. One night, as I put my baby to sleep, her little boy died. So she came and stole my baby and put her dead baby in its place. As I woke up in the morning to feed the child, I knew at once that the dead baby was not mine. And now she says she did not steal my baby. The second woman said, Of course I will say that, because this baby is mine. You lie. King Solomon sent for his guard and said,
Here, take this baby and cut him in half. I'll give 1/2 to each woman.
The first woman, who was indeed the real mother, threw herself at Solomon's feet. She cried, Please do not kill the baby. Give him to the other woman, but please do not harm him." The second woman said very calmly, "Of course, my lord, you can't cut him in half. This way, neither of us will have a baby, and this will solve our fight." King Solomon smiled. He now knew who the real mother was. Handing the baby to the real mother, the first woman, he said,
"Here's your baby. Don't cry anymore. Your problem has been solved."
The entire Israel came to hear the story of Solomon's wise justice. Everyone now knew that King Solomon was indeed blessed by the Lord himself. Over time, King Solomon became known for his wise judgments. I hope you heard carefully. My question is, when Solomon ordered his guard to cut the baby in half, what did the real mother do?
I want to answer this. The real mother threw herself at Solomon's feet and begged him not to.
That is right, Freckles. Very good. Now I'm going back to sleep. Bye-bye. Hello, children. Nice to see you back again.
Hi, Holly. Nice to see you awake. We want to hear another story from the great book. Will you tell us one, please?
Sure I will. But do pay attention. Do you know why?
Yes, because we will be asked a question.
Correct. Now the story is about the Temple of Solomon. A long time ago, King David of Israel had brought the sacred Ark of Covenant, which had the 10 Commandments, to Jerusalem. And now, after his death, his son Solomon decided to build the temple where it would be kept. Making of the temple was a great occasion. Builders from Phoenicia were called, and cedar, juniper, and cypress wood were brought across the great seas. Gold and silver, precious stones, and blocks of stone were especially cut from mountains far away. The temple took 7 years to finish, but when it was finally done, it was beautiful. It was grander than a palace. The doors were made of bronze. The walls were made of cedar wood, which had very beautiful carvings of flowers and trees made on it. The altars were also made from cedar wood and were covered with gold. The inner temple, where the ark was supposed to be kept, was made completely of gold. On the day it was finished, the priests of Levi carried out a small procession, bringing the holy chest inside the temple. When they left, a thick cloud filled the temple. It was so thick that the priests were not able to carry on their service. King Solomon spoke to the people.
"Do not be scared. This is Lord's glory upon us. He has finally come to stay in this temple."
Saying this, King Solomon led a great prayer to God to bless his people and his house. The God answered,
"Solomon, I grant your prayers. From this day on, I will live in this temple that you have made. I will keep Israel safe and bless your people."
Now, children, my question is, what was the inner temple made of?
Oh, I know. Gold.
That is right. Very good, Gumbo. You do pay attention. Bye-bye. Hello, you three. I have been waiting for you today, you know.
Hello there, Holly. Sorry we are late. Freckles had to do her hair. No way. We were late because you had to eat that entire cake. Anyway, now that we are here, can you please tell us a story? And we promise to pay attention.
All right, then. The story I'm about to tell you today is about Solomon in all his glory. Solomon had become rich as well as wise, just as God had promised. He had married an Egyptian princess, so he had a huge kingdom. All the land that was under him had to pay taxes, so Solomon had become very rich. He had a big army of almost 1,400 chariots and 12,000 1,000 horses. Ships from his kingdom sailed down to the Red Sea for trade and brought back spices, gold, ivory, and exotic birds. Soon his kingdom became famous for its wealth, and travelers from all over the world came to see the kingdom in all its glory. Solomon decided to build himself a grand palace in Jerusalem. The palace took 13 years to complete. Solomon was helped by the king of Tyre, Hiram. The glory of Solomon had spread far and wide. One day, Queen Sheba came to visit Jerusalem. She wanted to see if the tales of King Solomon's riches and grand palace were true or not. She brought many gifts with her from Arabia. When she reached Jerusalem, she was truly amazed. There was peace and prosperity in the promised land during Solomon's reign. She said, "Thank God for giving you so much. Not only that, but He has also made you wise, and your glory has spread far and wide." Jerusalem is indeed the promised land, as people call it. I hope you listened carefully, children. My question is, where did Queen Sheba come from?
Oh, I know. Queen Sheba came from Arabia, right?
Yes, Tubby, that is right. Very good. Hope you love the story. Till next time, bye-bye.
We really look forward to your stories. Can you please tell us one?
Yes, I will. But you have to pay attention.
We promise to pay attention, Holy.
All right, children. The story I'm about to tell you today is about Solomon turning away from God. King Solomon, the son of David, had become very rich. But though he was rich, he always managed to spend more than he had. So he would be forced to borrow from others. Then to pay back the money he had borrowed, he would tax his people heavily. When he needed workmen, he sent his officials to bring men to work as his slaves, and he always refused to pay them. Solomon was slowly turning away from God. Solomon had many wives during his lifetime. His wives were from many different countries, so they prayed to different gods and had their own religions. Instead of teaching them about his religion, Solomon made temples for each of their gods and eventually started praying to them too. All this made God very sad. He said to Solomon,
I thought you would stay faithful to me till the end, just like your father. But since you have broken the laws of the commandments, I will take everything away from you. For the sake of David, none of this will happen in your lifetime, but will happen in your son's life, and you will have only one tribe.
And so, just as God had said, when Rehoboam, Solomon's son, became the next king, he faced many problems.
That's so sad. I really liked Solomon.
I know, money can sometimes change a person. So I hope you paid attention. The question is, for whose sake did God tell Solomon that nothing bad would happen in his lifetime?
Oh, I know, Holy. It was Rehoboam, right?
No, Gumbo. It was David. You must pay more attention. So, till next time. Bye-bye.
Holy, what is today's story about?
Today's story is about how a fish saved Jonah and spit him out.
What? A fish spit him out? Stop it, Tubby. Just listen to the story.
Okay, children. A long, long time ago, God had given a man called Jonah a job to do. Instead of listening to God, Jonah set off in another direction. Suddenly, there was a dangerous storm and the waves were running very high. The boat was tossing and turning in the middle of the sea. Everyone on the boat was really scared. They did not know what to do. They tried to lighten the boat by throwing stuff overboard, but it did not help. They asked Jonah to pray to his God to rescue them. Jonah, in his heart, knew that it was because of him that the lives of others were in danger. He told his fellow sailors,
Throw me into the water!
Jonah knew God was with him and he would rescue Jonah. The sailors tried hard to row to the shore, but they were very tired and could not row any longer. Praying for forgiveness to God, they threw Jonah into the water. To everyone's amazement, the sea stopped raging at once. God heard Jonah's prayers and sent a huge fish to rescue him. Jonah was inside the belly of the fish for 3 days and 3 nights. Jonah prayed to God for help from inside the fish's belly. God spoke to the fish. When the time came and it was safe for Jonah to come out into the world, the fish spit him out. And now, here is a question for you. What did Jonah do when he was inside the fish's belly?
I think he ate up the fish from inside. No, silly. He prayed to God so that God would rescue him.
Oh, you're absolutely right, Gumbo.
Hi, Holy. We have come to hear another story. Yes, Holy. I hope you have already thought of one.
Yes, I have. But pay attention as I will ask a question at the end of it.
Sure we will.
All right. This story is about the prophet Elijah in the desert. A man called Ahab was now the king of Israel. He had married a wicked woman called Jezebel. She was from another country, and when she came to Israel, she brought hundreds of priests from her own country with her. Soon she started to kill all the prophets of God. Because of this, God decided to curse Israel with no rains. He sent his messenger, Elijah, to King Ahab. Elijah warned Ahab,
Your Highness, you must stop what Jezebel is doing. If you don't, Israel will have no rains for a long period of time.
But Ahab didn't listen to Elijah. He didn't care what Jezebel was doing. And so there were no rains, just as Elijah had promised. Elijah had to hide in the desert to escape from Jezebel. Every day, ravens would get him bread and meat, and he would drink water from the nearby brook. When the brook died, God sent Elijah to the town of Sidon. As he reached Sidon, he was tired and hungry. He saw an old woman. He asked her,
Will you please be kind enough to give me some food and water?
She said sadly, I'm very poor. I don't have much, just a little flour and oil. My son and I will have this last meal. You may join us if you want to. Elijah said,
Cook the meal. Your flour and oil won't run out till the end of this drought.
The old woman believed him and made a meal for 3 of them. Elijah was right. The jar that held her flour was never empty, and the jug of oil didn't run out.
Wow! Imagine a box of cookies that never finishes.
True, but you have to have faith. So what did the old woman have with her to offer Elijah?
She had flour and oil, right?
Yes, that's right. Very good, Tubby. I am off to sleep again. Bye-bye. Oh, hello, children. Nice to see you back again.
Hello, Holy. I hope you are ready to tell us another story from the Bible.
Of course I will, but you have to pay attention, especially you, Gumbo, as I will ask a question after it.
But I do listen.
All right then. A long time ago, Israel had a king called Ahab. His wife, who was not very nice, was called Jezebel. King Ahab of Israel had a beautiful palace with a beautiful garden. The garden had every kind of flower, but there was no room for vegetables in it. A farmer called Naboth lived next to the royal garden. He had a vineyard which was perfect for the king's vegetables. One day, Ahab went to Naboth's house to buy his vineyard. King Ahab ordered,
I would like to buy your vineyard. So, name your price.
The farmer said,
Your Highness, as much as I would like to be of service to you, I'm afraid I cannot. The vineyard was given to me by my late father.
Ahab returned to his palace very angry. When Jezebel saw this, she made fun of him. You cannot even get a lowly farmer to sell you his land. Leave it to me. Jezebel wrote a letter to the chief counselors charging Naboth of crimes against God. Naboth was put to death for something he didn't do. Happy, Ahab went to the vineyard to see the ground properly. When he reached, he saw Elijah there. Elijah said,
Today, you have committed the worst sin. You have killed an innocent man for no reason. You will be punished.
Ahab felt horrible. He repented all that he had done and begged for forgiveness. God was happy that Ahab had repented and didn't punish him harshly. He decided Ahab wouldn't suffer in his own time, but none of his family would be kings again. The question is, what did Ahab want to buy from Naboth the farmer?
I know. He wanted the vineyard.
That is right. Now I need to sleep. Bye-bye. Hello, children. That was a wonderful song.
Oh, we have been practicing. We are here to listen to another story from the Bible. Will you tell us one, please?
Yes, I will. But you have to promise to listen carefully.
Yes, we promise to listen carefully.
Great! Today's story is about Elisha and the lady from a city called Shunem. There was once a prophet of God called Elisha. Elisha was a very sweet and kind man. Wherever he went, people loved him. He traveled and taught people about God. He helped them in whatever way he could. He really was very helpful. There was a woman who lived in a city called Shunem, who had heard a lot about Elisha and knew that he was coming there. So she told her husband to build a room on their terrace for Elisha to stay in when he was there. When Elisha reached Shunem, the woman welcomed him and he lived in the room on their terrace. Elisha was very happy and thankful for all that the woman had done for him. He said to his servant,
I wish I could thank the kind lady, but she is already so rich, I cannot think of anything else she might need.
The servant smiled and replied, glad that he could be of help.
Well, I'm sure she would like to have a child.
And so, the next day, Elisha said to the woman,
Next year, by this time, you will have a child in your arms.
The woman soon gave birth to a son, just as Elisha had promised. But one day, it so happened that her son became very ill and died. The woman ran to Elisha. Elisha came to the little boy's room and prayed quietly. He then breathed air into the boy's mouth, and suddenly, the little boy sneezed. Elisha turned to the woman and said happily,
Do not cry anymore, because your son is alive.
That is a lovely story. I am so glad that the boy didn't die.
See? Good things happen to you if you are good to people. Now, this is my question for you. What did the servant suggest to Elisha to gift the kind woman?
Oh, I know. The servant told Elisha to give the woman a child.
That is right, Tubby. Very good. I'm glad you guys pay attention. Alright, children. Today's story is about the prophet Elisha and the Syrian general. There was a time when there was war between Israel and Syria. The Syrian army had a brilliant general. His name was Naaman. With the help of Naaman, the Syrians attacked the borders of Israel. They stole and took whatever they could find. They even took slaves from the Israelites. Among the slaves was a young girl who was Naaman's wife's maid. One day, Naaman got infected with a terrible skin disease called leprosy. Many doctors tried but could not heal it. Naaman was very upset. Naaman's wife would often cry seeing her husband in pain. One day, her maid saw her mistress crying. She said to her, "There is a holy man in my homeland. His name is Elisha. He is known to perform miracles. I am sure that if Master goes to Elisha, he will be healed." Naaman's wife told him about Elisha. She asked her husband to send word to the king in Israel that he wanted to meet Elisha to be healed. When the Israeli king heard about Naaman's strange request, he said,
First, he attacks my border, and now he wants me to cure him? This is just another reason for war.
Elisha, who was with the Israeli king, said,
Let him come. He should see that the prophet of God lives here.
General Naaman came to Elisha's house in Israel. There, a messenger told him to go and bathe in River Jordan 7 times. The general was angry.
If I had to bathe in the river 7 times, I could have done that in Syria.
The messenger said,
If Elisha asks you to do something, you should do it.
Naaman bathed 7 times, and the 7th time, his leprosy was healed. Naaman said,
It is a miracle! It is true that God lives in Israel!
So how many times was Naaman asked to bathe in the river?
I know. He was asked to bathe 7 times, right? Imagine bathing 7 times. I hate bathing even once.
Hello, children. I see you're back again. What can I do for you today?
Hi, Holy. We want you to tell us another story from the Bible. Will you please tell us one?
Yes, I will. But you have to promise to pay attention, as at the end of it, I will ask a question.
Yes, Holy. We promise to pay attention.
Now listen, children. This story is about the prophet Isaiah's warning. A man called Hezekiah was now the king of Judah. One day, Hezekiah became very ill. He was so ill that the people thought he was going to die. They finally took him to the holy man, Isaiah. With Isaiah's help, he soon became better. The news of his miraculous recovery reached many places. Soon, the ambassador of Babylon came to see him. The ambassador brought many gifts from Babylon with him. This pleased King Hezekiah a lot, and he happily showed the ambassador everything in the palace. From the treasury to the storehouses, the king showed him everything. That evening, when Isaiah came to Hezekiah, he asked him what Hezekiah had shown the ambassador from Babylon. The king told Isaiah everything he had shown the ambassador. Isaiah was very worried. He warned him, saying,
There will be a day when everything from your palace will be taken away to Babylon. Even your own sons will not be spared.
But Hezekiah did not pay any attention to Isaiah's warning. He just wanted to enjoy peace in his own lifetime. He did not care about what might happen later. He would unfortunately soon regret it. I hope you were listening carefully, children, because I will ask a question now. The ambassador of which country came to meet King Hezekiah?
I know I can answer this. The ambassador from Babylon.
Correct? Yes, that is right, Gumbo. You have started paying attention. That makes me very happy. Now, children, go on and play. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye, Holy. Holy, Holy, wake up. We are here.
I was not sleeping. I was just thinking about which story to tell you today.
Yeah! Story time! We love love your stories from the Bible. Can I ask them the question today? Please, Holy.
Sure, Gumbo. All right, children. This story is about how Isaiah saves Jerusalem. Over time, the people from Judah and Israel moved away from God's laws. So God got angry and took away his support and help. Soon the army from Assyria got a hold of the northern kingdom. The king of Judah, Hezekiah, was a good man who loved God. He didn't want any more wars, so he made a pact with the king of Assyria not to attack the southern kingdom. King Hezekiah had to give away a lot of gold from the temple of Judah to make the king of Assyria agree to this. However, even after giving them all that gold, instead of going back, the Assyrian army surrounded the city. King Hezekiah didn't know what to do, so he went to the prophet Isaiah for his advice. Isaiah assured him that the city would not fall in the hands of the Assyrians. This was God's promise. When the king of Assyria heard what Isaiah had told Hezekiah, he made fun of him by saying,
Let me remind you that we, the Syrians, have conquered many cities. No God came to their help, and no God can save you from us.
King Hezekiah was worried, so he went to the temple and prayed to God, asking for forgiveness for his people's behavior. As he finished praying, a messenger from Isaiah came. He said,
Do not worry, Your Highness. God has heard you. Jerusalem will not fall.
That very night, thousands of Assyrian soldiers died of a mysterious illness. And so they went back to their own country, never to come back again.
I hope you were listening, children, because here is my question. What was the name of the prophet that King Hezekiah went to for help? I know, but I won't tell you. It was Isaiah, Gumbo.
That is correct, Freckles. Very good. Now I am off to sleep again, children. Bye-bye. The Holy Tale.
Wake up, Holy! It's time for you to tell us a story. Don't sleep anymore. Yes, we have come to listen to your story.
I wasn't sleeping. Let's start with today's story. Gumbo, listen to the story carefully. Once there was a man called Isaiah who lived in Israel. He knew that no one in Israel was good enough to stand before God. One day, when he was in the temple in Jerusalem, he had a vision of the Lord. Isaiah saw the Lord in the year King Hosea died. King Hosea was then the king of Israel. In his vision, he saw the Lord sitting on his throne with a long robe filling the whole temple. Around him stood flaming creatures, and each of these creatures had 6 wings. Each creature covered its face with 2 wings and its body with 2. The other 2 were used for flying. The creatures were calling out to each other, and their voices shook the entire temple, and it was completely filled with smoke. Isaiah was confused and scared. After some time, he gathered some courage and said to the Lord,
There is no hope for me. Every word I say is sinful. I live amongst people whose words are also sinful.
Suddenly, one of the creatures flew down to him with a piece of burning coal from the altar. It touched Isaiah's lips with the burning coal and said that this has now removed all his guilt and that his sins had been forgiven. Then the Lord turned to Isaiah and said that he had chosen him as his messenger and that he should go and convey his message to the people.
Wow, that was scary. I would have been really scared.
So the question for today is, what was the name of the king who died?
That year, when Isaiah saw the vision of the Lord, his name was Hosea.
Very good, Gumbo. You seem to be paying good attention today. Now, if you would allow me, I'll go off to sleep. See you next time. Hello, children. As you can see, I'm awake.
Nice to see you.
Hope you had a nice day.
Oh, we did. Holy, we want to listen to another story. Will you please tell us one?
Yes, I will. But pay attention at the end as I will ask a question.
We will, promise.
Today's story is about Jeremiah. Over time, God chose many men and women to deliver his message to his people. These people were not always the most gifted or rich or intelligent or beautiful. God just chose them because they were good. Sometimes these men and women did not even want to become prophets because they knew the problems they would face. But God always gave them strength and courage to face these problems. One of these was Jeremiah, a simple man. He came from a family of priests, so when called upon, he was very scared because he knew how difficult his life would be. He said,
My Lord, I'm scared that I would not know how to speak your words. I'm quite young. Maybe you should choose someone more experienced.
God knew he was worried, so he showed Jeremiah a vision of a potter. The potter was making a clay pot, but soon the pot lost its shape. So the potter made it into a ball and started again. This time, it was made perfectly. God said,
Jeremiah, my people are like clay in the potter's hand. If they go wrong, I will destroy them. But if they follow my commandments, I will make them good and strong. I have chosen you, so you have nothing to fear.
After hearing this, Jeremiah wasn't scared anymore. Children, my question for you is, what did God show Jeremiah when he was scared?
I know. God showed him a potter.
That is right, Freckles. Very good. Now let me find the story to tell you tomorrow. Bye-bye, children.
Hi, Holy. We are back for another story.
I can see that.
I had a horrible day today. I lost my homework, stubbed my toe, fought with my friend.
Well, Freckles, some days can be bad, but tomorrow is another day, right? Now, for today's story is about Jeremiah in prison. Jeremiah was a chosen one of God. He had warned the people of Israel that the army of Babylon would attack them, but they did not listen. Jeremiah told them to leave the country, but they stayed and fought back. So more trouble happened each time they did not listen to him. The leaders of the city hated Jeremiah because whatever he said came true. They went to the king and tried to turn him against Jeremiah. They said,
Jeremiah is a betrayer. You must get rid of him.
The king was too scared to go against the leaders of the city or say what he truly felt. He said to them,
Do whatever you want.
They said to themselves,
Jeremiah is a man of God. We cannot kill him.
Finally, they decided to put him in a well so he would starve to death. So one evening, they caught him and lowered him into a well. One of the royal servants got to know what the leaders had done. He went to the king and said,
Your Highness, the city leaders have put Jeremiah in a well. He will starve to death if he stays there. If that happens, great disaster will fall upon us. He's a man of God, so we have to save him.
The king agreed and sent his men to save Jeremiah. The men dropped some rope into the well for Jeremiah to tie around his waist and finally pulled him out.
He was saved! He was saved! Yeah!
Yes, he was. Now I hope you listened carefully, children, because I will ask a question now. Where did the mean leaders of the city leave Jeremiah so he would starve to death?
I know, Holy. They lowered him into a well so he would starve to death, correct?
Very good, Freckles. That is right. You are a good little bookworm. Bye-bye. Hello, children.
Hello, Holy. It's time for you to tell us a story. Yes, it is.
Well, today I shall tell you a story about how God punishes those who do wrong things in the name of God. But before I start with the story, you all know what you have to do, right?
Yes, we have to listen to your story very carefully so that we can answer your question at the end of the story.
Good. Long ago, different prophets had warned the people of Israel about God's punishment. But they completely ignored these warnings and did not change their ways. King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon, the most powerful and strong nation, finally took over Jerusalem. Many people were taken as captives to Babylon. King Zedekiah, who was the last king of Judah, was also taken as captive. The Lord was so angry with the people that he turned away from them. King Zedekiah challenged King Nebuchadnezzar. So King Nebuchadnezzar came with all his army and set up a camp around Jerusalem. They also built walls to attack the city. Jerusalem was under attack for 2 years, and finally, a time came when the people had nothing left to eat. So the people of Israel broke through the city walls. Although the Babylonians were all around the city, Zedekiah and his soldiers escaped during the night. The Babylonians chased them and captured King Zedekiah and brought him to King Nebuchadnezzar. He was held as a prisoner and both his sons were killed. So God's warning of punishment had come true.
Oh my goodness, this is so scary.
Yes, it is. And God always punishes those who do wrong things. Anyway, so today's question is, who was the last king of Judah?
King Zedekiah was the last king of Judah. Yay! I remember!
Yes, you do. Now, may I please go and take my nap?
Of course! Bye, Holy!
Hello, children. I was just thinking about which story I should tell you today.
I hope it's a nice one, Holy!
Yes, it is. But you have to pay attention, as at the end of it, I will ask you all a question.
Of course we will! We love your stories!
Alright then. Today's story is about exile in Babylon. There was a time when the people of Judah forgot the 10 Commandments once again. The prophet Jeremiah warned them that if they did not get back to the commandments, great misery would fall on them. But the people of Judah didn't listen. Soon, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon attacked them. The Babylonian army burned every building, every house to the ground. They raided the temples and took away everything valuable. The people of Judah were made prisoners and taken to Babylon. Among them was a young boy called Daniel. Though Babylon was a beautiful place, the people of Judah were homesick. Often, they would sing songs of Judah and their unhappiness. The people were losing hope, so God called upon his prophets Jeremiah and Ezekiel. He said to them,
Tell my people not to lose hope. I'm still with them. Tell them to settle down in Babylon and live by my commandments. One day, I will give them back their lands and happiness.
The prophets did as they were told. The people of Judah in Babylon had hope once again. Now they knew that God was with them and good days were not too far. God said,
One day, I'm going to form a new covenant with my people and forgive them for their mistakes.
I feel so bad for these people, and I'm glad God decided to forgive them.
True, if you have been bad and then repent, God always forgives you. Now, my question for you is, which prophet warned the people of Judah that great misery would fall on them if they did not follow the 10 Commandments?
Jeremiah?
Yes, that is correct, Tubby. You are a good boy. Now off you go.
Bye, Holy!
Hello, children. I was just having this wonderful dream when your singing woke me up.
Sorry, Holy. We didn't mean to. We were just excited about story time. Will you please tell us one?
Of course I will, children. I love telling you stories from the Bible.
We promise to listen carefully, Holy.
All right then. The story I'm about to tell you today is about Hosea. Hosea was a man from the northern kingdom of Israel. He had married a woman called Gomer. Hosea liked a quiet and peaceful life, but Gomer wanted to have fun and go on adventures. For a few years, they were very happy together. They had 3 children. But one day, Gomer put on her best clothes and left the city to go on an adventure, leaving her husband and children behind. Hosea was really very sad. He loved his wife a lot. He went from city to city trying to find her. When he finally found her, he begged her to come back to Israel. Even though Gomer did come back for a while, she left him again and again in search of fun and adventure. Hosea finally gave up trying to get his wife to come back, so he raised his children on his own. But even they left him as soon as they grew up. Hosea had an unhappy life and a disappointing marriage, but this taught him a great deal about the Lord. He learned that Israel was like God's wife, and like Gomer, she would move away from God over and over again. And though God might get angry with her sometimes, he would always try and bring her back into his loving arms.
That is so sad. Hosea was such a nice man, but his family was so mean to him that he always forgave them. Like I forgive you guys when you are mean to me. Good, then you will forgive me for eating your cake. That was you? Just you wait.
Don't fight. Be more like Hosea. So the question for you is this. How many children did Hosea and Gomer have?
Holy, I know. 3, right?
It is absolutely right, children. I was already waiting for you. So, shall we start?
Yes. And we know that you will ask us a question at the end. And we have to listen to the story very carefully.
Excellent. So, today's story is about how Ezekiel, a priest, had a vision of God. There was a time when a lot of Israelites were captured by the Babylonians and taken to Babylon. One of these men was a priest called Ezekiel. He was trained to work in God's temple in Jerusalem. When he moved to Babylon, Ezekiel, at first, thought that all his hopes of serving God were gone. But later, he realized that God had a special plan for him in Babylon. One day, all of a sudden, he had a vision of God. The Lord spoke to him, and Ezekiel could feel the power of the Lord. Ezekiel suddenly saw the sky opening and saw a storm coming from the north. Lightning was flashing from a huge cloud. The sky was bright and something was shining like a bright metal. At the center of the storm, he saw what looked like 4 living things in human form. Each of them had 4 faces and 4 wings. They had straight legs and they had hooves like those of a bull, which shone like some bright metal. They also had a human hand under each wing. When they flew, the wings made a noise. It was like the roar of the sea, like the noise of a huge army, and like the roll of thunder. When they stopped flying, they folded their wings. Above their heads, there was something which looked like a sparkling glass dome. Above the dome was a throne made of blue sapphire. On the throne sat a man who was shining with a very bright light. All the colors of the rainbow were there. This was the dazzling light of the Lord.
Wow! The Lord must have been so bright and colorful.
Yes. So now, who will answer today's question?
May I? Please?
Of course. So, tell me, what was God's throne made up of?
The throne was made up of blue sapphire. Am I right?
Absolutely. Excellent.
Hi, Holy. Sorry we are late. It's Gumbo's fault. Like always, he got lost. It's such a big library.
Well, you are here now, so let us start with today's story. Today's story is about the Valley of Dry Bones.
Wow, that sounds scary.
Well, it's not. It's actually quite interesting. Once upon a time, there was an Israelite priest in God's temple in Jerusalem called Ezekiel. Ezekiel lived with his people who had been taken captive by the Babylonians. He had a vision of God. Ezekiel could feel the power of the Lord, and he also felt that God was with him. The Lord one day took him to a valley and showed him around. The valley had dry bones everywhere, scattered on the ground. The Lord spoke to Ezekiel and said,
Ezekiel, can these bones come back to life?
Ezekiel replied,
Great God, only you can answer that.
So the Lord told him to speak to these bones the word of the Lord. Ezekiel did as he was told. He spoke the words of God, and while speaking, he heard the noise of the bones joining together. They became many bodies, but the bodies were not breathing. God then asked Ezekiel to speak to the wind. He spoke to the wind, and the wind started to blow from everywhere, giving life to these bodies. All the bodies came to life and stood up as a large crowd. God then explained to Ezekiel,
The people of Israel think that they are dried like these bones because they are in other lands. They say that they can never come back. But I will bring them back to their own land. This is my promise, and this will happen.
This is how the Lord breathed life into these dry bones.
Wow, that was such an amazing story. We all loved it. So, what is today's question?
Today's question is, in which temple was Ezekiel a priest?
He was a priest in the temple of Jerusalem.
Very good, Freckles.
Bye, Holy. Thanks for the story.
Goodbye, children. Hello, children. Come, listen to my story today. It's about 4 men who walked in the fire. King Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had made a golden statue which was 90 feet tall. He made an announcement in his court that all the citizens should worship this statue, or they would be thrown into a furnace. Fearing for their lives, everyone started worshipping the statue that the king had set up, except 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These 3 men were not ready to worship the statue, which angered the king. The king warned them that they would be thrown into the furnace if they did not worship the idol. The 3 men stood in front of the angry king and said,
We have a lot of faith in our God, and the Lord will save us from the furnace. But we will never serve your God or idol.
This angered Nebuchadnezzar all the more. He ordered that the furnace be heated 7 times hotter than ever before. The king ordered the guards to tie the 3 friends and take them to the furnace. The furnace was raging with heat, which killed the guards, and the 3 men fell down into the flames. The king and his people were amazed looking into the furnace. They were surprised that they had thrown 3 men into the flames. But now they could see 4 men, untied and walking through the fire. None of them looked hurt at all. The king realized that the 4th man was no one else but the Lord himself. He asked the 3 men to come out of the fire. The 3 men walked out, but none of them were burned, nor did they smell of fire. The king declared,
The God of these 3 men is blessed, and no one should ever speak against their God.
I hope you listened very carefully to the story.
Yes, we did.
So, who can tell me the number of people King Nebuchadnezzar saw inside the furnace?
I know, 4.
Correct. Okay, nap time. Bye-bye, children. Right, Freckles? Hi, children. Why are you so late today? Don't you want to listen to another story from the Bible?
Of course we want to. Tubby was busy eating. Anyway, Holy, can you please start with today's story?
Well, today's story is about how Daniel stayed at the royal court of King Nebuchadnezzar. A long time ago, King Nebuchadnezzar, the Babylonian king, ordered his chief official to choose some men from their Jewish prisoners. They should be good-looking, clever, and healthy, and should also learn to serve the royal court. They should also know how to read and write the Babylonian language. Every day, they were to be given royal food and wine. After 3 years of training, they were to appear before the king. Among the chosen Jews were Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. All of them were from the tribe of Judah. The chief official gave them new names: Belteshazzar, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Daniel decided not to disobey God's laws about food and drink. He asked Ashpenaz for help. Ashpenaz was kind to Daniel, but he was also very afraid of the king. So he said to Daniel,
The king has decided what you should eat and drink. If you do not look fit as the other young men, he will punish me.
So Daniel said,
Please, test us for 10 days. Give us vegetables to eat and water to drink. Then compare us with young men who are eating the royal food.
The man agreed, and after 10 days, they looked healthier and stronger than the others. The king really liked these 4 men when they were presented to him, so Daniel continued to stay at the king's palace.
Yes, Daniel was indeed a very wise man.
True. Now answer my question. What was the name of the official who had to train Daniel and the other 3 Jewish captives?
His name was Espionage? No, silly. It was Ashpenaz. Holy! We have come to hear today's story.
Aha! I will tell you a story today, only if you answer my question at the end. Gumbo, you never listen to my stories carefully.
All right, I will.
So, today's story is about a writing on the wall, which Daniel was able to explain.
Wow! Daniel must have been so wise.
A long time ago, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon fell really ill, and he started behaving like a madman. His son, Belshazzar, was now the king of Babylon. One night, King Belshazzar invited 1,000 important men for a grand dinner. He ordered his officials to bring in the gold and silver vessels that his father, King Nebuchadnezzar, had taken from the temple in Jerusalem. Belshazzar and his guests were drinking from these vessels. Suddenly, the king saw a human handwriting on the brightly lit wall of the palace. His face turned pale with fear, and his knees began to shake. He called for his magicians, wise men, and fortune tellers and said,
Whoever can read this writing and tell me what it means, he will be dressed in kingly robes.
But none of his men could read the writing or tell him what it meant. The king was all the more afraid. The king's mother heard the noise and came to speak to him. She told him that Daniel was one man in his kingdom who had godly power in him. She told him that Daniel was very good at explaining dreams and all kinds of mysteries. Belshazzar called Daniel to the court. Daniel explained that the writing on the wall said that the days of his kingdom were numbered. This later turned out to be true. Now, Gumbo, you will answer my question. What was King Nebuchadnezzar's son's name?
I know the answer. His name was King Belshazzar.
Excellent, Gumbo. It seems you have been listening to today's story very carefully. Hello, children. I have been waiting for you. Let's start with today's story. Listen to it very carefully.
Yes, please. We are ready to hear today's story.
Okay. A long time ago, Darius was the king of Jerusalem. He had passed a new law against praying towards Jerusalem. In spite of this new law, Daniel continued to pray 3 times every day. There were a few men who were jealous of Daniel, so they went to the king and complained against him for not obeying the law. When Darius heard this, he was very upset. Daniel was one of his presidents, and he did not want to punish him for not obeying the law. The king tried very hard to save him, but the wicked men of his court were insisting upon Daniel's punishment. Seeing no other option, the king had to punish Daniel. He was thrown into a den of lions. The mouth of the cave was then sealed with a big stone. But King Darius was worried about Daniel. He could not sleep the entire night. Next morning, he ran to the den. He called out for Daniel, and to his amazement, instead of hearing the lion's roar, he heard Daniel's voice. Daniel told the king,
God saved me by sending an angel to shut the lion's mouth. The lions couldn't hurt me at all.
King Darius very happily took Daniel out from the cave and punished those wicked men who had plotted against him.
Daniel was a good man. That's why God saved him. Holy. So what is today's question?
Today's question is, how did God save Daniel from the lions?
I know. He sent an angel to shut the lion's mouth.
Yes, you are correct. Now, I must sleep. Bye-bye, all of you. See you tomorrow.
Holy, wake up. You are supposed to tell us another story today.
Of course, I will tell you a story. I've already thought of which one to tell you. But you children do remember that you...
Yes, we remember. We have to answer one question at the end of your story, so that you will know how much attention we have paid.
Good.
Yeah! Story time!
Long ago, a man named Cyrus was the king of Persia. During this time, God was using all the powerful nations to carry out his plans. In his first year as a king, Cyrus was guided by God to give a special command. This command of God was sent to his people throughout the empire. One of God's prophets, called Jeremiah, a long time ago, had said that something like this would happen. When it was time for Cyrus to convey the message of God to the people, he said,
I, Cyrus, king of Persia, send this order to all the people. The true God, the ruler of heaven, has made me king over all people.
He also said that God had asked him to build his temple in Jerusalem in the land of Judah. The people must go to Jerusalem and rebuild the temple of their God. If someone lived out of the country and needed help to return, their neighbors must help them and give them silver and gold and all the other things that they might need. Saying this, Cyrus blessed the people and returned home. By the 7th month, all the people of Israel met in Jerusalem to rebuild the altar of God's temple.
That was a wonderful story, Holy. Thank you.
You are most welcome, Freckles. Now, it is time for the question. Cyrus was the king of which nation?
Peru? Paris?
What are you saying, Gumbo? Where did Peru and Paris come from?
I know the answer. He was the king of Persia. Hey, that's what I said.
Never mind. Anyway, children, till next time. Bye-bye.
Bye, Holy. We'll be back soon.
Hi, kids. How have you been?
Hello, Holy. You are awake?
Well, yes. I feel fresh and chirpy and ready to tell you another story from the Bible. And I am sure you know what you have to do.
Yes, we do. We have to listen to your story very carefully and answer your question at the end of it.
Great. So, today I shall tell you a story about a man called Nehemiah. There was a time when King Artaxerxes was the ruler of the Persian Empire. The king had a trusted official whose name was Nehemiah. Nehemiah's hometown was Jerusalem, and he knew that the temple city of Jerusalem was in ruins. The thought of this made him very, very sad. One day, Nehemiah was serving wine to the king at dinner when the king noticed that Nehemiah was very sad. He had not seen him like this ever before. The king asked him,
Why do you look so sad? Are you sick?
Nehemiah was surprised and afraid to answer. But then he said,
Your Majesty, my home city was burned down long ago. All my ancestors are buried here, and this is what makes me sad.
The king was confused as to what it was that Nehemiah exactly wanted. Nehemiah told him that he wished to go to Jerusalem and rebuild it. The king immediately granted him his request and helped him by giving him passes to go through all the provinces on the other side of the river Euphrates. The king also ordered Asaph, the forest officer, to give Nehemiah all the wood that he needed to build the temple fort, the city walls, and his own house. Nehemiah knew that the king had helped him so much because God was with him.
Wow, that was such a beautiful story, Holy. Absolutely. So, what is today's question, Holy? I know the question.
I think you are supposed to know the answer, Gumbo, not the question. So, the question is, what was the name of the forest officer?
Well, I know the answer of this question too. I'm such a good boy. The answer is Asaph.
Excellent. Hope you guys come back soon.
Bye, Holy. We shall. Hi, Holy. How old are you? Are you hundreds and hundreds of years old?
Well, I am old, but a woman never talks about her age, you know.
Ignore Gumbo. He can be stupid sometimes. We want to listen to another story from the Bible. Will you please tell us one?
Yes, I will. But you have to promise to listen carefully, as at the end of it, I will ask a question.
We promise, Holy.
All right then. This story is about how Nehemiah rebuilt Jerusalem. When the Persian king took over the city of Babylon, he allowed the Jewish people to return to their homeland. He even returned their temple treasures. But the war was still going on, so the people could not rebuild the city of Jerusalem. Nehemiah was a high official in the Persian king's court. He was one of the few Jewish people still living in Babylon. When he heard that the city of his ancestors was in ruin, he was very sad. he wanted to go there and rebuild the city himself. So Nehemiah went to the Persian king to ask for permission. The Persian king was a good man. He not only gave permission, but also wrote letters to the governors of Jerusalem, asking them to help Nehemiah. When Nehemiah reached Jerusalem, he called all the leaders and said to them,
Look at these letters the Persian king has given me. I have been sent to rebuild the city walls. There is God's will in this.
He then gave them their jobs and parts in the rebuilding of the city. Each family was to build one part. Though it looked impossible, Nehemiah drove the people till the city was finally complete. At last, the day came when the buildings had to be dedicated to the Lord. There was great celebration that lasted for 7 long and happy days. So, children, I hope you heard carefully. The question is, how many days did the celebrations and march last?
Yes, I know this, Holy. It lasted for 7 long and happy days, right?
Yes, Gumbo, that is right. Well done. Now, off you go. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye, Holy. Hello, Holy. It's so nice to see you awake. Now, please tell us another story from the Bible, please?
Of course I will. But you have to promise you will listen to the story very carefully and answer my question at the end.
Yes, we promise.
A long time ago, Jerusalem had got destroyed over time because of many wars. Nehemiah, a Jewish exile in Babylon, decided that he wanted to rebuild Jerusalem. He was finally able to finish building the wall of Jerusalem. By the 7th month since then, the people of Israel were all settled in their towns. On the first day of that month, all of them gathered in the square inside the water gate. They asked Ezra, the priest, to bring the book of the law. Ezra stood on a platform and opened the book. All the people stood up to praise the Lord, and they bowed down to the ground in worship. Ezra read out the law to the people from early morning until noon. They listened carefully. Ezra put the word of the law into their own language and explained it to the people. On the 24th day of the same month, the people of Israel again met together. They fasted the entire day to show sorrow for their sins. They prayed to God and asked for forgiveness for their sins. The promise that the people made to God was,
We, the people of Israel, make this promise to God in writing. Our leaders put their seal to it. We know how we suffered in the past because we disobeyed God. We have now decided to separate ourselves from those who do not worship the Lord according to the law of Moses. We will live by this law and obey all that our God has told us. If we do not obey God, He may punish us.
So, children, now answer my question. What was the name of the priest who read out the book of law to the people of Israel?
I remember. His name was Ezra.
Very good.
Come on, Freckles. Come, Gumbo. Let us finish our song. Bye, Holy.
See you, children.
God is a holy, great thing He has done. So glad to the world that He gave us His Son.
The Holy Tales.
To watch more videos, please subscribe.
Since there was no room anywhere else, they decided to spend the night in a stable. Here, Mary had her baby, Jesus. She wrapped him in a blanket and put him to sleep, while the inside of the tomb was flashing like lightning. The guards of the tomb were afraid and very scared. They fell down with fear. The angel knew that the women had come to see Jesus, so he said,
You will not find him in the tomb.
Jesus has left death behind.
Alive, alive, alive forevermore. My Jesus is alive, alive forevermore. Alive, alive, alive forevermore. My Jesus is alive.
Created plants and trees. On the fourth day, God created the sun to shine in the day, the moon and stars to come out at night,